Meghan told Australia she grew up on farm to table cooking from her mother's kitchen. But she told Netflix she grew up a latchkey kid on Jack in the Box tacos and microwave dinners. So both versions can't be true, and that is only the appetizer because we have also got a Buckingham Palace room offer that got quietly pulled, a Netflix relationship that keeps on following and reinviting itself back to the party, and two people who used to be genuinely close to Meghan explaining in very different ways what happens once you stop being useful to her. Welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. Let's get down to it. Let's start with the origin story because Meghan has now told at least 4 different versions of her own childhood diet. And this week, Radar Online lined them all up next to each other and let the contradictions speak for themselves. On Masterchef Australia, taped in April during the couple's trip down under and aired this past Sunday, Meghan told the judging panel her relaxed cooking style comes from growing up surrounded by California's incredible produce, raised on farm to table meals with her mom as the household's incredible cook who had her watching cooking shows from an early age. Warm, aspirational, exactly the brand her lifestyle business is selling. Except on her own Netflix show, sitting across from Mindy Kaling in season 1 of With the Love of Meghan, she told a very different story. She was a latchkey kid, she said, raised on fast food and microwavable TV tray dinners with everything compartmentalized, and she named El Pollo Loco Taco Bell and Jack in the Box specifically because her mom loved their tacos. So go back further and there's a third version. In a 2021 letter to Congress about paid parental leave, Meghan wrote that she grew up on the $4.99 salad bar at Sizzler and felt lucky her hardworking parents could afford it as something special. And a fourth one, in 2013, Instagram post, remembering lunches with her father after tap and ballet class at Musso and Frank, one of the most expensive old Hollywood restaurants in the city. So we have a farm to table with mom, a latchkey fast food alone, a grateful, hard up Sizzler kid, lunch at a Hollywood institution with a dad. We get 4 childhoods at this point, 4 audiences, and 4 completely different economic realities, all delivered as the honest truth in the exact moment she was telling it. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So Reddit did what Reddit does and did it fast. One user called it an astounding pattern of rewriting her own narrative, adding that the only constant is her willingness to, do it. And another simply asked how many childhoods Meghan actually had. A third pointed out that her own father, Thomas Markle, has previously said she wasn't a latchkey kid at all, and instead spent afternoons on the set of Married with Children, where he worked as a lighting director before those same fancy dinners out. As one commenter put it, channeling the late Queen's own line about the 2021 Oprah interview, those childhood recollections may vary. But it didn't stop at the diet either, because of the same MasterChef appearance drew its own pile on, with critics accusing her of cookery cosplay for a guest judge who reportedly couldn't name a single dish she actually cooks for her own family. I talked about that yesterday, with the one unimpressed viewer summing her up in one word: insufferable. So what's notable isn't that any single version is impossible on its own. Families genuinely do eat differently depending on the week, the parent, the paycheck. What is notable is that each version arrived perfectly tailored to whoever was in front of her at the time. aspirational abundance for an Australian cooking show built to sell warmth, hardship, and gratitude for a congressional letter built to make a policy argument, and old Hollywood glamour for an Instagram audience that wanted to feel like it knew the real deal and the real her. So every detail above is something Meghan said herself on camera in her own writing or under her own byline at 4 different points in her life. Nobody needs to invent a contradiction when she's already supplied 4 of them. Yeah, and from a childhood nobody can quite pin down to a Buckingham Palace bedroom that suddenly wasn't available after all. The Harkles' latest UK trip was billed in the Express telling as low-key by design, a quiet family visit rather than a full public reset, with royal watchers left speculating about whether it was ever meant to reshape public perceptions of the couple at all. And Harry and Meghan reportedly got Archie and Lily to a Chanel event at Highgrove without the usual media scrum. Nice for them. Except the run-up to that trip carried its own small embarrassment. Harry had reportedly been expecting a room at Buckingham Palace for the visit, and the king's side reportedly withdrew that offer because Harry hadn't given enough notice, adding a fresh round of furore to a trip that was already under enough scrutiny before anyone had landed, especially Meghan and the kids. So I have already covered the closed-door terms that King Charles is said to have laid out at that Highgrove sit-down. So we won't relitigate all of that today, but losing a childhood bedroom over a scheduling failure is a very specific, very avoidable kind of a sting, and it's hard to read that detail as anything other than a family still treating its own son like a guest who needs to book ahead, and that's what Harry has earned himself, seriously. And Meghan, for her part, is reportedly telling Harry it's time to stop fighting that particular battle altogether. A source quoted by Closer claims that she feels she has done her bit to help him. Yeah, sure. That she went to England, kept out of sight, that is actually an achievement for Meghan, and abided by all the rules precisely because she understood how important the trip was to Harry. Yeah, I tried to go with the flow with this report, but okay. But now that they are home, the same source says that she's telling him it's time to forget about the royals and put their energy back into the life they are building in America. I don't believe that for a second, but again, which the source adds really means focusing on her and her brand, or whatever is left of it. So that pivot lines up neatly with Love, Meghan reportedly picking up a daytime Emmy nomination, maybe paid for, right alongside her MasterChef Australia appearance. So whatever her actual childhood diet turns out to have been, we will never know. Her current one seems built entirely around press cycles that favor Montecito over the palace. But Gingerbread went looking for a bedroom in the house he grew up in and got told to check back later. So some homecomings are not built to be warm. And from a room that got pulled to a business relationship that can't decide if it's over, Ted Sarandos still runs Netflix, and by most accounts, his patience with the sausages has been tested and renewed on a loop for over a year now. Reports out of Variety describe Netflix as exhausted by the couple, claiming their bedside manner in meetings had ruffled feathers and that with Love, Meghan pulled lackluster ratings. That is being generous. Their overall production deal was reportedly downgraded to a first look arrangement last August, and Netflix exited as ever Meghan's lifestyle brand mentality back in March. So Sarandos and Netflix content chief Bella Bajaria were both reported to have unfollowed Meghan on Instagram around that same window, though Sarandon's wife, Nicole Avant, reportedly kept following Meghan personally, with a Netflix source insisting the two women are still friends regardless of what the men in the building are doing. So, separate reporting has claimed that Netflix now won't let the couple produce or appear in anything without closer studio oversight, treating them less like partners and more like talent that needs managing. And yet, this same allegedly exhausted streamer hosted Harry and Meghan at Sarandon's and Avant's own home in Montecito for a Beef Season 2 celebration back in April alongside the show's actual cast. So, which one is it? A partner who unfollowed you, quietly walked away from your candle line and now needs to approve your every move? Or a partner throwing you a party at the CEO's own house and developing a whole new show with you? And Netflix's answer apparently is both, on alternating weeks depending on which executive is talking that day. So from one relationship nobody can pin down to two people who can tell you exactly what happens once you are no longer useful to Meghan. Because you might remember Discount Barbie Can. Royal author Omid Scobie spent years as one of the loudest defenders Team Sausages had in the press, co-writing the sympathetic biography that shaped how a big chunk of the public first understood their side of the split from the family. And that makes a recent report from Rob Shooter's naughty but nice newsletter worth sitting with. An insider quoted there says Meghan has a pattern that people are incredibly valuable until they aren't. And that once someone has served their purpose, she cuts ties and rarely looks back. And applied specifically to Scobie, the same insider claims flatly that there is no way Omid walked away from that friendship on his own initiative. So both Meghan and Scobie have always publicly denied being close personal friends in the first place. So treat the whole thing as a single anonymous source describing a private falling out neither side has ever officially confirmed even existed. So yeah, weigh it accordingly. So if that pattern sounds familiar, it should, because Jessica Mulroney wrote the original case study back in 2020. Mulroney wasn't only a friend, her children served as page boy and bridesmaid at the 2018 wedding, and she was widely reported as Meghan's unofficial stylist and closest confidant in Toronto going back to the Suits years. Then came a public dispute with black lifestyle influencer Sasha Exeter, who accused Mulroney of threatening legal action over criticism of her response to the Black Lives Matter movement, with white privilege specifically cited. So Mulroney lost her Canadian TV hosting work in the fallout of the friendship reportedly ended around the same time, and it never fully came back. But here's where it gets messier, because reports this year claim publishers have offered Mulroney more than $1 million for a tell-all memoir, with one source describing her flatly as the woman who knows where the bodies are buried and has the receipts to prove it, adding that Meghan will be worried. So Mulroney herself has denied writing any such book, saying absolutely not when asked directly. And meanwhile, her ex-husband, Ben Mulroney, said on a podcast back in January that his understanding is the two women are actually on positive terms these days, though he was careful to add that the story is hers to tell, not his. But yeah, a furious tell-all allegedly in the works, or a quiet positive friendship according to the man who used to be married into it. So nobody outside that relationship actually knows which one is true, and that is rather the whole point. So yeah, that is today's through line, a childhood story that changes depending on the camera pointed at her, a bedroom offer that vanished the moment it required planning ahead, A studio that can't decide whether it still likes you or merely still needs your name on the next show, and two people once fully inside the circle giving two very different answers about what it's actually like to live it. So individually, none of this prove a single thing. But stacked next to each other in the same week, they start to rhyme, and the rhyme is always the same one. The version of events depends entirely on who's asking and what they are being sold. No single tabloid or anonymous insider assembled that coincidence. It's a pattern built one press cycle at a time by the same two people over the better part of that decade. And this week happened to be the one where 4 separate threads of it landed in the same 7 days. So I don't think that Netflix relationship survives another year without somebody finally picking a lane. And I don't think we have heard the last word from either Scobie or Mulroney on how their stories with Meghan actually ended. But let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. Much love and bliss.